Good afternoon, everybody. Hi. Good afternoon. Well, welcome today to SoulFood Books. Today we are on our second series set, and this one, particularly for me, is an exciting one because we're going to talking about the nature of love and the nature of relationships. All of those like really good things that movies are made out of, fables are told about, and sometimes can be the stickiest point in our lives, right? And so Rumi had this beautiful quote that was part of the inspiration for this was that there is actually, when we seek for love, what we should really be seeking is the barriers inside of ourselves that we've put up to find it. And so, as many paths will tell you, that's kind of what that is. It's about shedding the layers and being able to be who you truly are. So, when we were putting this together, I was sitting there and I was thinking, okay, who are four of the most spectacular groups of people that I could bring in that have a really deep well of knowledge and experience to be able to share and can speak a language that is accessible by all of us and be able to really connect in with people and answer questions and at least be able to reflect back the knowledge that we already know, but sometimes we forget. And so I was really grateful to be able to be working with this group of people. And so I think instead of explaining a whole bunch of things, because I'm really good at that, and slightly micromanaging, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our first speaker. And our first speaker is somebody who actually is probably one of the most solid human beings I know. She is coming today through the Sambodha lineage, which is a beautiful solar lineage that is really all about aligning and being who your authentic human self is. And my favorite part is that not only can she speak that, but she can speak pirate and she can speak all of these other really great languages. So she walks in a reality that all of us walk in the everyday, but also understands that there's a bigger picture. So please put your hands together for Miss Mara Garrity.
So I was just saying that it's really easy for me to sit on the floor and have a conversation for hours and hours about your divine being and yourself and how to bring that into a greater alignment. Sitting on a stool with a microphone in front of me makes me want to throw up overboard. So. So hopefully my words can feed your fish this way instead of me having to run off stage. So, so bear with me until I come into that space with you. So on that, my name is Mara, and I teach meditation. I do massage as well, integrated body work. And it's an amazing passion for me to be able to share with you the knowledge that has come through from the Sambodha lineage. My teacher's name is Aravinda Himadra, and his forever partner is Ashera. And what they come to share is a way through compassion and love and standing in your true self so that you can shine and be the greatest being that you came here to do. So I think the easiest way to begin is to begin at the top, which is usually with breath. And so I'm going to invite you all to just dive right in and to experience, because I think that I could sit up here and chat about it forever, but until we're actually on the same page or the same seat and driving the same vessel, then it may not come across as well. So at least that's what they say. So sweet. Are you going to be ordering a coffee drink, sir? Okay, good. So I invite you to close your eyes, which sometimes is a very difficult thing and challenging to do. It can be scary. That's the first step to going inward, though. So I invite you to close your eyes and take a nice and easy breath in and behind your eyes and feel the expanse. This is your Ajna chakra. So on the inhale, bring your breath in and expand into that area, and exhale from your temples. Bringing it in, feel the expanse, and just let it go in a decompression. Your breath is divine, and when you bring it into alignment with the divinity of yourself and the divinity of the oneness, you get to feel this feeling that you are right now. On your next inhale, bring your breath up and through your crown, through the top of your head. This is the breath through the Sarasara. You have this ability every single moment of every single day to connect like this. On your next inhale, bring your breath in and behind your eyes. Feel that expanse. And then let go, just a little bit more. This is the expression of your breath. And so when you're ready from this space, you can go ahead and open your eyes. So now we all get to be on the same page, all breathing the same breath. And that's kind of where life starts. Life starts from a oneness, and it dips down into your divinity and creates a human being. It's kind of a miraculous event that occurs. There's a few things that we forget along the way. One of them is that you can always call God. The way that you can call God is through your breath. You bring that in and bring it down into your body, and you immediately reconnect. Because a lot of us consider the fact that we are separate from God, separate from your divinity, separate from your goddess that lives inside of you. And we do that through thought, and we do that through disallowing the moment to occur and for your true selves to come forward. It's a struggle, and it's very, very painful when that happens. So one of the first things that I learned was how to become more self-compassionate. And so on a talk about love and about relationship, it's pretty amazing to think about how often we take our love and we bring it out like a bag or taking it out on a walk, and we just give it away without cultivating it first, without knowing where it comes from. So first of all, it is my belief that love comes from every single cell of your body. It doesn't necessarily come from your heart. Intuition might come from there. You might feel it there. But so to believe in self-compassion, you have to believe in yourself. And a lot of times I find that it's so much easier to take yourself out and believe in so many other things other than yourself. Believe in so many other external forces that come towards you. And some of them are amazing, like showing up here today and having a space that people have created in order for you to become more expanded or hear one bit of a gem from even a conversation that's happening next to you. And those are external forces. But those are, I also believe, the will of God coming in and touching you on the shoulder like an angel and saying hello. So what happens when you decide to touch yourself on the inside with that moment and touch your own divinity and make a decision that that's where you're going to begin. Not beginning from a place that this person over here is going to give me what I need. But what if I have what that person needs? And when I give that from a self-compassionate place and from a true self, the knowledge that passes between the two of you is grander than if I stood there waiting for that person to show up and ask. One of those things is called Kavalya. And Kavalya is sort of the dance of the moment. That's a whole nother fun topic, though. So I guess we'll have to wait for that one. So, how do you reach self-compassion? What's the difference between being compassionate and being self-compassionate? There's one word that's different in it, so it tends to sort of answer itself, but it's the most difficult place to reach, and it's you. You are your own church. You are your own path. And you are your own God and Goddess. And you have the ability to live with all of that every single day. So, I invite you to take your hands and put your hands on your heart. And both hands, and now take the top hand and come down just like this. So, in the knowledge that I teach, this is the Hridaya. This is your heart chakra. And this right here is the Hrit. This is the cup. So it's the cup of yourself. So you're here and you give it out. It's here and you fill it up. So what happens when you decide to go out into the world and this cup has a leaky hole in it? It's not full. What happens at that point? You're giving from an empty place. Because this cup has to be full and run over into the Hridaya in order for you to have it well up and speak from here, the Vishuddha, and speak from your true voice, and then be able to fill up even farther and come up into your eyes so that what you are seeing is what you are feeling. And that's answering the moment. And of course it gets even juicier if you go higher. So, yeah, the nectar. Yeah. So how many of you have ever meditated before? Oh, way to raise the consciousness. Yeah, that's a good space to be. It reminds me, I went to a Santana concert the other day, and yeah. Yeah. And it was perfectly exciting. I think one of the most exciting parts about it was, I don't know if many of you know Santana has gone to India, and he always speaks of light and love and that kind of thing, which is a good thing to speak about. I liked the way that he brought it to a huge crowd on a gorgeous evening. He divided the amphitheater in half, and on one half, he had everyone standing up and cheering light. And on the other half, he had everyone standing up and cheering love. And in the middle, he was going, I am! So it was pretty amazing to watch. And it was pretty amazing to watch the energy rise just by those few words. And so in that way, this is where you have your love, and this is where you have your light. And in between, when the light fills up like sunlight in a pond, and you can see straight through it, you are so light and you are so filled with love that you just get to be. And it's in that path that you get to walk. And so it looks really shiny from the outside, but it's immense and immaculately, beautifully clear from the inside. And so when you clear your mind in that way, and you clear your thoughts away from belief patterns of I'm not good enough, not pretty enough. I walk with a limp. There's a piece of me emotionally, physically, or spiritually deformed, and there are people that are going to see that. So that's judgment. And when you walk in that light, you bring that essence forward and you diminish the light that you are. You, instead of throwing a rock in that creates a ripple out, it's like you just throw trash in there instead. And it fills up the pond of who you are with a bunch of trash. So there's a quick little meditation that I'd like to go through with you that cleanses the lens. So if you're flying the aircraft of you and you're cruising along, and this is your windshield here, and you have this thing called the third eye, but if you have windshield wipers that go like this, and can constantly cleanse it, instead of all the mud that keeps splashing up and creating all of this distortion. So instead of driving a car like this or the vessel like this, you're driving it like this. And so there's some distraction there, but it's constantly being cleansed. On the other hand, there's another area behind your head here, and that's called the Manobhava. And that's where a lot of belief patterns get settled in, the reptilian brain. It's amazing for making a grocery list, It's amazing for remembering where you put your keys. And when you put these two things together, you get this emotional hit of where you left your keys, and all of a sudden, you're walking in that direction. It's very divinely inspired. Without that, I think we'd all be wandering around with half of us without our pants on. So, although fun, not necessarily the best way to go to work, I guess. So, yeah. So there's a meditation called the Anaprasadana Kriya. And it's one of the first things that I teach inside of mindfulness. And it's pretty amazing. It's kind of quick. There's 2 pieces to it. And it can be done with a toning. And it's a silent meditation. So it doesn't feel like that's the right place to do it here today. But if you're interested in it, it's the most amazing tool to be able to cleanse all the way through this area. And then it also dips down into your heart. And it allows you to be able to feel your own self-compassion. So there's a little lead. I teach meditation on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Thursdays at Janet's house in Kirkland. Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Center of the Universe Network here in Ballard, which is where I have my sailboat. So there's that. I was told I was supposed to give myself a plug. So that's it. Yeah. So we have a few more minutes, I guess, inside of time. Oh, thanks. Cool. They think so too. So there is a fun mantra that would be nice for everybody to say together. And so there's a lot of you here. So Mr. Quinn, if you could come forward for a moment so I don't have to leave my maybe tables could share. Yeah. If maybe like you could kind of gather together in a little group over here and a little group over there. I won't make you like harmonize or anything, but yeah. I think that there's been a lot of information out there about love and about relationship and about how to bring those 2 things together, because I think a lot of times relationship comes to us in a way of what we want and what we desire and what we demand. And I think that goes beyond the ability to give freely and to give unconditionally and to give from your innocence. And innocence in a sense of being able to be complete with where you are at the moment. So, and if that is completely goofy like a 7-year-old child, then that's a good place to be. If that is completely wise, like a Tibetan monk sitting at the top of a mountain, then that is good as well. So innocence is a good place to come to with love. The mantra that I passed out is basically a way to cultivate bringing in your beloved. And that beloved is you. You have the opportunity at any given moment to shine with the most amount of divinity and love and compassion that is available, because that well is endless, and that well can be filled by you when you decide to not answer fear, when you decide to not answer judgment, when you decide to give love. And it seems like a, sometimes unattainable moment, especially when you're standing across from someone that you consider to be your enemy. So that would be the first place to start. That person is considered in your mind to be your enemy because you are resisting what they have to give you. And when you resist what is in front of you, it causes you pain. And no one really wants to feel pain. That kind of feels like it's a lack, So I urge you to completely memorize this mantra and let it move through you. There's a little disclaimer that I think my teacher Aravinda said, which is, this is not a dating device. It is not the thing that you want to do right before you make a decision to go out with all of your girlfriends or guy friends, because you might be tackled by a bunch of people that are looking for an immense amount of love, and that can be overwhelming. So be innocent with it and walk in your truth with it. And when those two things occur at the same time, you have an opportunity to be receptive for your own divinity instead of trying to micromanage someone else's divinity, which is really fun for us to do, I think. That allows us to be able to tell people how they should be and how they could be and how they would be if you were them. But I think we all kind of know that that doesn't really work ever, Again, that might end up in pain. So, yeah. I guess there's a point about judgment that needs to be covered, and that point is the more that you judge yourself, the more that others are going to judge you. So the more that you bring judgment upon yourself, the more that you limit yourself in that way, the more that you make a decision to take yourself out of your own true nature, which is love and light, and you decide to put yourself into basically a corpse position, a piece of you will continue to die. There will be cells that will die off from you that you really, really need. And so at the moment that you find that you are judging, I urge you to take a step back and maybe even take a breath in behind your eyes and consider your own divinity, and then perhaps open them. And whether you're looking in the mirror or whether you're looking at someone else, consider the self that you are and the fact that you're looking at a divine being, and the fact that that divine being has the same exact cells as you and the same exact creator, which is love and light and oneness. good. So there's a person here who has been studying this lineage for a very, very long time. His name is Sanjin. And he wrote an amazing book of poems with commentary. And so I want to share one of those with you. And they are on that table right over there. It's called The Great Effort, which is kind of what we're talking about. I think that sometimes it's a great effort to really come from your true self with love, instead of going from that place that we were talking about earlier, which is either a false sense of love or an external force. So struggle is a clever disguise for resisting the truth. Effort is the depth of your commitment to struggle. Lack is the fruit you bear for making love with such scoundrels. That sounds like the moment that you might judge yourself, that you're not necessarily the greatest light and the greatest love that you are created to be. He's got a lot of other good ones, and he's quite witty. So, yeah. Okay. One more thing, I guess. There's a perfect place that everyone wants to reach, and there's called a lot of different things in different cultures: nirvana, bliss, ecstasy, sunlight. So what happens in your world when you actually find this quick moment that, oh gosh, it just kind of feels like you made love to the sun for a moment and you got to see all the brilliant colors that are shining from that space, and you feel like you're the only one who can see all of those colors. I think they call that an aha moment. And so there's something that comes through you with that, and it's a sensation that wells up from you. And when you cultivate that sensation, I think meditation is a really easy way to cultivate it. You could continuously go to rock concerts and get that same sensation, which is fun, but there's something to be said with being quiet with yourself and to be able to see that reflection in you. So I guess what's coming through is to be able to see the bliss in your life and to be able to hold that bliss in the cup of yourself and to be able to see that flourish and move through you. Because we all know that we can't necessarily change another person, but what we can do is stand very humbly and strong and in light and watch their reaction and watch them change right in front of you. And so if we cultivate bliss and joy and love, those states of being, and we just cultivate them without any emotion or attachment or trying to push them away because we think that we're not worthy to be in a blissful state, then we are there and cultivating your true nature. And there's some people that are here that are going to be talking about your true nature and the language that is necessary in order to cultivate that. So I guess that was a fun plug for them. So let's do a mantra together and put ourselves on the inside of our being so that we can be open to the day. So I'll go through the words with you. The beginning, the top is ahumsa, which basically means we are immortal. So we won't throw that into it. It's just a nice thing to remember. And the other is, I call it the the love juice mantra because of the way that it makes you feel afterwards. So the words are Harim, Kleem, Shayam, Ah, and then Kleem, San, Da, Ri, Ye. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So we get to say it about, I don't know, let's see, 3, 5 times. 5 times. So nice that I don't have to write my own script. So, is everybody ready? If you'd like, I can do it through one time so it sounds good. Oh, yes, that's it. Okay. All right. I have to do this. Minor anxiety allows me to forget things. Harim, Kleem, Shayam, Kleem, Da, Ri, Ye. So you can begin by closing your eyes or reading it if you haven't memorized it yet. There'll be a test later, don't worry. And we'll take a nice breath. And we will begin. Harim, Kleem, Shayam, Ah, Kleem, San, Da, Ri, Ye. Harim, Kleem, Shayam, Ah, Kleem, San, Da, Ri, Yeah. Harim, Kleem, Shayam, Ah, Gleam, sun, into the silence one more time. Perfection. Thanks. I want to thank you for putting your listening caps on and for showing up to your own divine self. It's been beautiful to be with you. Sure. Oh, and thanks for letting me conquer my fear of microphones.
You were spectacular. So we're going to just take a 5-minute break just to use the bathroom, stretch your legs. I'm going to ground some coffee so that we're not grinding coffee while we're talking. And there, just to remind you, there is the book that is right over there on that really nice table over there. And also, as you're walking through, there's a couple other practitioners who are here that are pretty spectacular. We've got Bree, who's in the back, who does matrix work. Vivian is over there too, and she is this like crazy, brilliant body walker. She could be a body walker, but I think she's actually a body worker who is all about getting everything in line and being in touch. And then Dee, who is actually right there, who's also back there, is an impeccable human being who is all about using her intuitive skills to help you figure out where you're walking in your world. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and thank you for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can take our seats again and come back together to speak a little bit more about love. If this was my section on love, my talk would go like this. Love! Thank you very much. That's how I know how to express it. And so that's why I'm not going to take a turn today. And I'm going to turn it over to our host tonight, this afternoon, to let's welcome Sarah Pelfrey up to the stage to speak to us of love and compassion. Sarah, everybody.
Hi. So normally I wouldn't be one of the speakers because that is a little funny to be the host and the speaker. But my really good friend Sandra Rodman, who we had booked, ended up not being able to make it. And so I had worked with her about what she was going to be talking about, which is a book that she'd written, The Gift. And so I was all ready to do that, and I was brushing up on my reading and going through all the alchemical stuff that was there. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, so how about if I actually say it in my language? And so for those of you who don't know me, I come from a really great lineage. It's the Sufi lineage. And so I was born and raised and have had a teacher for a really long time who is really good at kicking my butt when I go astray in a very kind and compassionate kind of way. And for those of you who don't know much about Sufism, if you could just take the ism part out, because that's a really important aspect of it, but it's really about the path of love. And so my life has been spent up to this date outside of trying to figure out how not to be tall, geeky, and awkward, has been to be about how to remove the veils that have gotten in the way of being who I actually am in that divine connection. And so how that all kind of interplays with the work that I did with Sandra, she does a lot of work with the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and I was like, okay, well, I can do that. That sounds great, because it meshes very well with a practice I've been doing for a long time called the alchemy of the heart. And there's this incredible concept called the meeting of the two C's. So it's your divine self and your human self, and we live where the two C's meet. So if you were to take that in just another step, your divine masculine and your divine feminine, and where they meet, that's where we live. That's where we hang out. Sometimes the divine feminine's tide is out, so we're a little bit over on this way. Sometimes the divine masculine is on the other side. But really our job on this planet, at least one of the jobs is to be in a space of equanimity with that and to give it a healthy expression. So one of the parts that I really appreciate about the path that I get a chance to walk on is that we honor all traditions, because we believe that they're really saying the same thing, but just in different languages. And so if you can find the heart of every single tradition, then you know what the language is. So you remember that there's no difference between me and you. I might be sitting on a chair up here under really warm lights. And you're sitting right there, not under warm lights, but there's nothing really the difference. We're all this beautiful light that is just shining in different ways, but all from the same source. So one of the things that I was sitting here and I was thinking, okay, well, how am I going to articulate this? How am I going to put that in words? And then what jumped to my mind was, well, Sarah, how about Radha and Krishna? And I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I had this moment of like, why don't I bring the alchemical practice of Radha and Krishna? And I thought, okay, that's perfect. And so for those of you who, I don't see, thank you, Bill. So if you were to look at archetypes, and Krishna and Radha, for those of you who don't know, Krishna was the manifestation of Vishnu, one of the Hindu gods. And Krishna, dude, he was the person you wanted to hang out with, because everything was embodied in Krishna. He was what you could consider being the divine masculine. He played music. He embodied everything. He could love everybody. And it just was what it was. He loved everyone. And he liked to dance, and he liked to eat, and he liked to play tricks. In fact, there's a whole book about Krishna. And Krishna was beloved by everybody except for there was one in particular who was this part of him that was the embodiment of the divine feminine, and that was Radha. Now, this was a lady you wanted to hang with, right? So you could be walking down the streets, and she knew how to hold herself in a way that honored herself and honored those around her. And she, in some sense, was like this incredible being of devotion. So part of what the Radha and Krishna practices is becoming to be able to embrace the lover and the beloved in ourselves. So as we're doing this dance and we're trying to, take off all the veils and be able to walk and be able to really connect with someone else. I mean, we're human beings having this incredible experience. Our souls are housed in flesh. We are a part of the animal kingdom, right? So a part of this experience is being able to have relationships. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm pretty sure with 7 billion people on the planet, we aren't made to be ascetics and monks. Not all of us anyways. That's some people's life path, but that's not all of our life path. I know I would be cranky and nobody would want to hang out with me. Not do really well with that. But I do know that my divine connection, one of the incredible aspects of that is my relationship with my partner. It's just a reflection of that. So I get to dance and I get to play and I get to see all of my shadow and all my icky, but all of the beautiful things that come with that. And that's really what the Radha and Krishna aspect are part. So when you, and I just want to acknowledge this, you guys all know this, right? None of this is new. None of this is life-shattering, it could be life-altering, but it's not new. This is just a reminder. That's all this is. This is a reminder of something that you already know. You know that you are the lover, and you know you are the beloved. And it's about embracing those two aspects of yourself. What an amazing feeling to wake up in the morning and be like, yep, I'm a lover today. How fantastic is that? And I love you. And this is my manifestation of this. Or to the other part of you to wake up and be like, yes, I'm the beloved. To allow yourself to be fully and completely loved by a human being, even though they see your warts. They see the fact that your socks don't get into the dirty clothes. They see under the bed, but they also see you in your divine compassion. They see you in your laughter. They see you in your music. They see you as who you are. So what I wanted to bring from this incredible, wonderful tradition that I feel really blessed to be able to walk on is just a simple practice. And just to remember that this, for you guys, this is nothing new. I'm just here to remind you, and that's it. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to kind of close our eyes. We're going to find our seat bones, and we're going to get comfortable. And so to remember, we're in a public space, right? So just to allow that to be okay. I mean, because the thing is you're the lover and you're the beloved in the middle of a Santana concert. You're in the middle of a coffee shop, in the middle of an ashram in India, right? This is where we're at. This is our human experience. So if you're holding on to anything, like our refrigerator's making a funny buzzing sound, or you're hearing the cars, just let them go. They don't really need to be there. And if you want to pick it up after this, feel free to. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find the safest way. Maybe it's a passing feeling that you had in your life where you felt completely loved. It might have been a moment. It might have been your whole life. And I want you to find that. And I want you to find what it feels like in every single cell that you have. What does that feel like? What does it smell like? Do you get a taste? Do you hear a song? And just hold that. And sometimes, because this world isn't always kind, Sometimes it's hard to find that place. So instead of possibly, if you're having a hard time finding that, don't beat yourself up. It's not what this is about. But allow yourself to maybe even imagine what that would feel like. Sometimes you can't know what something is unless you can imagine it and give it a name. And allow it just to sink into you and to really feel that. And this is the part of you that is your Krishna. This is the part of you that allows yourself to be loved. So once you've felt that place, what I'd like you to do is pretend you have a shelf. It's a quite beautiful shelf. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take that feeling and I want you to put it on that shelf. So it's still right in front of you. It hasn't gone anywhere. But we're just going to put it in a safe place for a moment. So now what I want you to do is to come back to your center. And I want you to imagine a moment where you have loved something so much that it broke your heart wide open. That you were so vulnerable to that moment because there was nothing left in you but love. Maybe it was the first time you saw your child. Maybe it was your first kiss. Maybe it's when you wake up every morning and you see the sun. And again, if you feel like you haven't had that moment, that's okay. Let's just go into a space of imagine what that would feel like, smell like, taste like. This is your Radha self. This is the part of you that is brave enough and strong enough and is willing to leap into the fires to love. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go to your shelf. And I want you to take your Krishna and I want you to hold them together. Because luckily, our hearts are herkin huge. There's room enough for all of it. And remember that this is a safe place. And it's inside you. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to pass judgment on it. Well, it's totally safe. As you sit with these two feelings, allow yourself to actually feel like what that feels. What does it feel like to lose, abandon, and just love? And at the same time, be vulnerable enough to receive that love. At this point in time, what I'd like you to do is to start coming back. If you can keep on that feeling, like you feel like it's a safe place to do that, then do that. And if not, put it in a special place. Because what our journey is to be able to walk with those at all times, whether it's at Bellevue Square Mall in the middle of a horde of teenagers, or whether it's in the safest sanctuary of your home. And really what this is about is remembering. There's no special fee. In fact, the only card that you have to remember that you belong in this club that gets to do Radha and Krishna is a belly button. And luckily we all have one of those. So this isn't any knowledge that you have to be in a club for or anything. This is just a reminder. You all are supremely worth loving, and you are all supremely vulnerable and brave enough to love. And so if I can pass anything through the people that stood behind me to help me, is that you all have the capacity to be that. And the beautiful thing about Radha and Krishna, if you're interested, is that there's these beautiful stories out there. I've learned much better through stories. In fact, if you tell me a good story, I can tell it to you 10 years later. Your name, maybe not, but the story you told me, most definitely. And all of that is really just there because it's our human experience. It's what connects us all. It's great. It's why you can go to, as my brother would call it, a chick flick, and he would be crying next to me at the same time. You know, it's like we all have these great experiences. So I would just want to invite you, out of anything, is to remember that you're all worth everything that you want to be and who you want to be. So thank you for the space to share that. And so I put my host hat back on. So we're going to take just a couple-minute break to stretch your legs, and we're going to get set up for the next speaker. And I'm going to grind some more coffee. And please, okay. So to honor the agreement that I had with Sandra in taking over what she was going to do, stepping in, Sandra has written an incredibly beautiful book. It's called The Gift. It's right over there. And it's really spectacular. It's a different language than what I just used. Funny enough, a tip, read it from backwards to forwards. It makes much more sense. And sorry, that's just the way that comes. Yeah, totally. Thank you. And also what I would want to say is it's a universal language. There's lots of really good books out there that, and a lot of really good people who can help open that door. But and Sandra is one of those amazing, completely out of this world, oh my gosh, kind of people. And her book is just sitting over there by Sanjay's. And so thank you very much.
Check one, check two.